Good morning, folks. This is Mr. Dan coming to you from the Landscape Design Classroom, and today I'm going to talk to you about selection of wire and wiring techniques used in floral design. So our main idea here, how do I know I'm selecting the appropriate wire and using the correct wiring techniques for my flowers? So we're going to talk a little bit about each of these types of wire below here in the picture. So let's get started. So wiring is a pretty basic technique. It's to strengthen the stems, to keep flowers upright, to avoid bending, to make short stems longer. For floral designers must learn when wiring is appropriate and when it is not needed. Too much wire in a design will definitely be visible. So, learning that delicate balance of how much to use, when to use it, and what the appropriate uses are is really vital to your designs. So, what are some reasons for wiring? To straighten and support stems, to allow manipulation, to prevent breakage, to support roses and other flowers with heavy needs, to reduce bulk in corsages and boutonnieres, to lengthen stems for a better look in an arrangement. So some wire choices. We have most common floral wire, 18-inch long, sold in 12-pound boxes. Wire size measured by gauge. Lower gauges are thicker, more sturdy. Higher gauges are finer, more flexible. So the lower the gauge, the thicker it's going to be. Choose based on floral weight and intended use. So you're going to have a variety of uses here, and we'll talk a little bit about those. So some gauge examples would be 20 gauge for rose heads and wrapping the base of flowers. 24 to 26 gauge is all purpose, and 28 gauge is typically used for bows. So coated with green enamel to be less noticeable and prevent rust. So typically, I don't like to use a basic silver. You always want to make sure that's coated in green because it will be way less visible for your customer. So some wires, we have some paddle wires, continuous wire on flat paddled shaped plastic used in garlands and wreaths, spool wire wrapped around a spool, decoration on corsages and boutonnieres, and comes in many colors. Cloth stem wire, which is wrapped wire used to finish off bouquets and centerpieces by being wrapped around stems, typically green or white, slight flock texture. Floral wire netting, this is hexagonal openings with 6 edges like a honeycomb, comes on a roll, flexible, easily cut, holds flowers or keeps heavy flowers in place in floral foam, and also used for topiary forms to line a basket, make a wreath, or to fill a vase for an area arrangement. You have Chanel stems, which are colorful, fluffier version of pipe cleaners, and then used as decorations and to bundle items. Corsage stems, wire picks with an absorbent tip made from flocked florist wire and soaked in nutrient-enriched water before use. Step and notice. Corsage stems, these white flowers are often used in weddings. An artificial stem replaces the real stem. Decorative wire, heavy wire but easy to shape. Many color choices used to wrap, create structure and accent. Floral pins, also called greening pins, fern pins, pull pins, filly pins, or U pins, used to fasten items to foam, topiaries, or wreaths. Easy to reposition. So wired wood floral pin picks, wooden stick 4 or 6 inches long, green or natural, one ended point and one end wired. Steel picks, steel pick on the end of the artificial flower stem of a wire or wood pick attached with a steel pick stemming machine, but make sure you use caution because they are very sharp. Gerbera support tube, similar to a straw, no wiring, used to support thick Gerbera stems. So let's talk about some wiring techniques and start into some tips. Wire can be used to lengthen the stems or of fresh, dried, and silk flowers. Uses all flowers in a bunch, eliminates waste. Consider how the flower will be used, type of flower head and stem. Keep wires hidden when possible. Straight wire method, inserted into the calyx of a heavy flower, remaining wire wrapped down the outside of the stem, for roses and carnations in a vase. So the insertion method, Used for flowers with hollow or soft fleshy stems. A wire is inserted up the stem through the bottom through the top of the flower and allows for dramatic stem curves. The Pierce method, used to strengthen and stabilize the stem, best for flowers with enlarged calyx. Wired pushed into calyx horizontally, then down the stem. And you can see some examples here of how that happens. So you're going to cut, you're going to get your top off, you're going to put your wire through both sides, pull them down, and then do a nice wrap. Hook method, for flat flowers with weak stems, good for daisies and chrysanthemums. Hook pushed through the top of the head. The hairpin method, used for tubular flowers like stephanotis and lilies. Thin wire bent around dampened cotton and pushed through the top of the flower. An older method. And then we have the wrap method, used for foliage with multiple leaflets and flowers composed of many florets. Hairpin shaped rest on the stem, then one side wound around the stem. We get the stitch method, which is used to add live, broad, and leathery leaf foliage to a corsage. You pass wire horizontally through the back, bend the wire down, wrap one wire around the other straight wire, and you cover with floral tape. And as you can see here on the bottom right, you can look through that entire method. So floral tape. What is floral tape? Some characteristics: it's a non-sticky, flexible tape, sticks to itself when stretched, used to cover wires, bind wires to stems, and tape flowers together to create corsages, and retains stem moisture. Color and sizes: the most popular size is the 1/2 inch, and the most popular colors are greens, brown, and white, but you can find these in a ton of different colors. So taping wire stems, twist the stem with your weak hand, and as you pull the tape taut, and wrap your strong hand in a spiral, angling downward. A properly wrapped wire will be smooth and covered in a thin layer of tape. Bumpy, hold tape at a straighter angle to get that smoothed out. And not sticking, you want to increase pull on the tape. So when you're using floral tape, sometimes it's not going to want to do what you want it to. So you want to make sure you work those bubbles and sticking situations out. So the bottom line here, a variety of wires are used in floral designs. Mastering the use of wires and floral tape is essential for making arrangements, corsages, and boutonnieres. I can't stress enough how important the floral tape is in general and wiring, because it is the essentials here to make great arrangements. So if you can master both these, then you can express full creativity within your own designs. So that's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions. If you have any questions on this lecture at all, you can reach out to me in the landscape design classroom. But I appreciate your time, folks, and have a great day.